Boy, COVID-19 has hit us so hard. I mean, good grief. It's an understatement. So, or you can't overstate the effects of the pandemic. And one of the things we're missing the most is entertainment. And this time of year, we'd be gearing up for TSO, Trans Siberian Orchestra, and they always do a couple of concerts at Van Andel Arena, and sadly not this year. But there's still hope because there's still a concert, and we get a chance to talk with Jeff Plate, one of the original guys and drummer for TSO, Trans Siberian Orchestra. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, Andy. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on and talking about this. Yeah, it's really been a wacky year, and for entertainers, man, it's just like shut it down, go back to bed.
Yeah, and you and I mentioned before we came on here, it's just who'd have thunk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would never expect something like this to come along and completely not just derail my line of business, but the world. But it has, and we've all had to adapt and change and figure out a way to deal with this. So, Trans Siberian Orchestra, obviously we cannot be in Grand Rapids. We cannot be anywhere, but the cool thing is we have technology, and we have the will, and we have the right people in place to bring a live stream show to your living room. So December 18th, we will be available. Go to our websites, TSOLivestream.com and trans-siberian.com.
And get tickets.
Tickets are available there.
Yeah, and the cool thing is they're only $30, and then not only can you watch it live, the live stream, but you've got 48 hours. You can watch it several more times after that. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yep. It's interesting. I mean, it's really hitting me. It's sinking in. I should be on tour. I should be with my band and my crew and everything. And so it's really the reality of all this kind of hit home. Obviously this started back in early summer when we realized this was probably not going to happen. Speaking of the tour, but the live stream thing, that was always Plan B. And how can we do this? And in the spirit of TSO and the spirit of Paul O'Neill, it's got to be spectacular. It's got to be just awesome. And I know it's going to be. I am just excited for this as anybody. But it's a disappointment to not be in your city, but we will be able to be in your living room.
Yeah.
This is going to be the most convenient TSO show you'll ever attend. But $30 for a ticket. Invite your family and friends over and run us through your stereo, crank it up, turn some lights on, and make a show out of it, make a party out of it.
Oh heck, I would turn all the lights off and let you do it for me, because you're going to do the same show, right? I mean, the spectacular light show, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what you see in the arena is one thing. We will be doing this live stream from a soundstage, obviously a much smaller area to cover, and some of the effects that you can only feel in a TSO show won't be there.
Okay.
The fire, the snow, things like that. But I know that my management and the production team, the O'Neill family, we would not be taking this on if we didn't think we could put on something TSO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have no doubt this is going to look and just sound amazing. So
you can't let the fans down. They come back year after year for that sensory overload. I mean, it's just incredible entertainment and showbiz. So, but from your standpoint, how is it you're not going to have a live audience? So, and an entertainer feeds off the live audience. So what do you think about that? How's that going to affect you?
Well, me personally, it's really not going to affect much. I mean, we're so used to, when we rehearse for these TSO tours, obviously we're in an arena. There's nobody there but the crew.
Right.
And both, if people aren't aware, we have two different touring groups, TSO East and TSO West. So, we're basically playing to our counterparts. That's our audience. Myself personally, I love playing this music. I love being a part of the show. It is just so cool to be on these stages with this production. You feel it's bigger than life. It just feels awesome. So being able to put on that kind of a show and put forth that kind of energy, that's not going to be a problem for any of us. When we rehearse for tour, we rehearse, like we are doing a show in front of 10,000 people. We don't want to get out there and be caught off guard, so to speak. But we've been doing this a long time, and everybody involved in this, everybody that's going to be part of this pay-per-view is a seasoned pro. Everybody knows what's at stake, and the main thing is it's the audience that has supported us for all these years. That's one thing. We know that these people are probably going to buy a ticket and watch our show, but for the people that have never seen us before, this is going to be a great way to introduce ourselves to a whole new fan base. Because,
absolutely.
The holiday seasons are a busy time of year. Sometimes logistically we are just not, people just can't get to our shows. So we're coming right to your living room. So if you are curious about TSO, if your friends have been banging on you about getting to a show and, so on and so forth, this is a great way to check us out. It's very affordable. It's very convenient. And, I guarantee the majority of people who have never seen us before or even never heard us before will recognize our music. We'll recognize something, whether it's the holiday themes or the classical themes that are woven in and out of our songs. There is something in this show for everybody. Same will be true for this pay-per-view. So it's going to be interesting. We all have to be on our toes. This is a very important show.
Talking with Jeff Plate, who's TSO's Trans Siberian Orchestra's drummer, an original member from, almost the beginning of time. You've been doing this. You've been doing this a long time. How long? I mean, it's been 20, 25 years, something like that.
Yeah, I've been here from the very beginning. I mean, our first CD was in 1996 as the Trans Siberian Orchestra. Paul O'Neill, who was the producer and the creator, the writer, the everything of TSO. This was his vision. But I began working for Paul in 1994 in a band called Sabotage. And we actually recorded Christmas Eve Sarajevo 1224 first.
Oh, you did? I didn't realize Sabotage did that. Okay.
Yep. So I joined the band in 94. We did a record in 1995 called Dead Winter Dead, which was a concept about the war that was going on in Yugoslavia. And this was something Paul was very concerned about, and he was, he had to write something. He had to get it out.
Okay.
So this album was dedicated to that situation, and he wanted to place this instrumental Christmas song in the middle of this record. And I mean, here we are, a progressive metal band, all kind of looking at each other like, what's this guy thinking? This sounds kind of crazy. Well, when we heard the final version, there was no doubt that it was great. Like, wow, this is something else.
Well, it's a Christmas classic now. I mean, we play it, every year.
Yeah, but the thing was, when we released the Sabotage record, that song just took off on a completely different path. And Paul had been dreaming of the Trans Siberian Orchestra or a group like this. He wanted to put something together like this for years, and that song was the vehicle for him to do this. So TSO was basically formed, so to speak. Our first record was in 1996, and we've been touring now since 1999.
Wow. When did you put the whole package together with the lights and the fire and the smoke? Did that evolve over time?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, when we first started touring in 1999, the first CD, Christmas Eve and Other Stories, was already very successful.
Right.
Christmas Eve Sarajevo was a hit song. Excuse me. Our second record, The Christmas Attic, was also successful. Some strong songs on that too. So musically, we knew that we had something, but how does this translate live? So our first tour, it was only 7 shows, but in 1999, it was one box truck and like 24 lights and a fog machine. And we went out there, and lo and behold, the audience just loved it. And Paul, he wanted to do something spectacular. He was a fan of theater. He was a fan of Broadway. He was a fan of storytelling. He was also a fan of Kiss and The Who and Queen, and he wanted to come out with this, like you just said, sensory overload. That is the phrase that describes our show. It is spectacular.
It is.
So it took a while for the whole thing to really develop, but once we got to a point where it was like, Paul, we cannot fit anything more in this arena. Okay, knock it off.
Yeah.
But every year we change something in the show. We add some new production. We add some new elements. And Paul he was like a kid in a candy store. When it was rehearsal time and people would come in with new effects, man, like I said, he was like a kid in a candy store or like a kid on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
He just absolutely loved it.
We're going to see the live stream coming up December 18, and you can get tickets at the TSO's website, trans-siberian.com and or the tsolivestream.com. They're only $30, and it's December 18, and I can't wait. Jeff Plate, who's the drummer and one of the originals of TSO, it's going to be just killer. You guys, you're going to have so much fun, and your audience is going to have so much fun. So welcome back to our living rooms.
Yes, thank you. And Grand Rapids, we miss you. Let's keep our fingers crossed, and we'll see you again next year.
See you next year. Thanks, Jeff.
Take care.